Hey guys, Robin Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, on our continuing deep dive, a closer look, if you will, of The X-Files, which is a series that I just continue more and more to fall in love with. Episode 5 of Season 3, The List, both directed and written by Chris Carter, and his first return since Dwayne Barry. Phenomenal episode. October 20th, 1995. I do believe the next episode, there's a break over Christmas time. You remember those days? Not only did you have to wait from the season finale to the fall when the show would pick up again, but sometimes there was a Christmas break where over the entire month of November, December, there was no shows. What did we do back then? How did we fill that gap? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure there is a substantial gap between this episode and the next. Too Shy, which I do not remember at all. I rarely remember this one. And I thought to myself, this is just kind of weird because I grew up on The X-Files. I watched The X-Files almost religiously every Friday night, at least when it started. And then it occurred to me, I was in the Army. There were times I would have been out to the field, and so I would have missed. And back then, unless my wife remembered to record it on VHS for me, shows my age, I missed it until the reruns came around. So I didn't really remember this one, The List, but this, I think easily, if I had to come up with a top 5 of the Monster of the Week episodes for the first 3 seasons to this point, The List has to be in probably that top 3, I would imagine. This is a phenomenal episode, man. And as a result, I felt motivated to review, first time ever, review the film Prison from Rennie Harlin for the opening week of July on Body Bags, which I just did. So I hope there's no real crossover, but that is a phenomenal, underappreciated, underrated gem from the 80s. That is, if you're an 80s lover of horror films, there is a lot of reasons to love that film. But The List, there's a lot of reasons to love this one as well. Starting with the real maggots, man. There's a scene where there's a rapidly decomposing body. I'll get into the story here. This would have, apparently Gillian Anderson was not a fan of this, using real maggots. But I think it would have made Katrina McCall proud, though. I remember the scene from City of the Living Dead. And what Gillian had to go through was absolutely nothing like that. I mean, she just happens to stare down at a table full of maggots, which she didn't like, apparently. This also, Chris Carter got nominated for a Directors Guild of America nomination. I mean, again, these shows are starting to collect Emmys and Director Guild awards and nominations and whatnot. The shows are getting good, man. And this is definitely no exception. Let me see here. Also, let's just say two last things. Highest body count, apparently, in X-File lore. This show at 9 is the highest, and some of the kills are pretty good. If you want better, though, check out the movie Prison. Definitely. Mitch Pileggi, interestingly enough, is not in this episode, but back in '89, he had, of course, played the legendary Horace Pinker from Wes Craven's Shocker, criminal who goes to the electric chair, and as a result of voodoo and what else, it comes back and wreaks havoc. And so there's that interesting tie-in as well. And as a subgenre, the electric chair promised to come back from the dead. Shocker's one, Nightmare Beach from Italy is another one. The Horror Show, of course. Prison is another one. There's a few out there, man. There's a few out there. But as a solid episode, this ranks with the best of any of those other films, man. This is some good stuff, man. Guesting Ken Foree, man. It's awesome, man. Of course, if you don't know Ken Foree, you've never seen Dawn of the Dead, Romero's original. J.T. Walsh as the warden is freaking phenomenal in this as well. And the guy who plays Neech, man. Neech is our main character. Neech is the opening scene of his execution. I would say it ranks up there with the opening execution scenes in the subgenre of these types of films. This really gets under your skin, man. And he's given last words, and he promises to come back, man, and carry out his own sense of capital punishment on 5 that have treated him ill. Yeah, this isn't good, man. Including the warden. This is not good. Now, so you jump ahead a little bit of time after his execution, which, leads right into the opening title sequence. And then federal officer, one of the officers in the prison ends up killed. Our first victim of the 5, the list of 5, is found in Neech's old cell. And so this, of course, brings in Mulder and Scully, and they very quickly get wrapped up into this. It's an interesting investigation because at times you wonder if Mulder wants that supernatural element. He wants to believe that somebody who willed himself to come back, in fact, could come back, that there's life after death, I guess. Perhaps. There's some interesting moments where he gives some really interesting facial expressions in this, as well as Scully, for different reasons. And so the early on in the episode, there's this question. Well, it's either Neech, who was known as a prison philosopher, who sort of indulged in anything and everything, comes to the point in his life where especially after two times he almost went to the chair, and there was a last-second reprieve by the governor. There would not be one on this third. As Scully says, third time's a charm. He was I think if I remember that right, he was the getaway driver. The actual gunman who robs the place is shot dead. Neech is caught, serves a lifetime sentence. Well, he's convicted. The death penalty, serving a lifetime sentence, I guess. But twice, as I said, this third time they do kill him. And I think the issue here is he was a getaway driver, and he didn't go into the place. He didn't pull the weapon. He didn't discharge the weapon, putting anyone in danger. So there's a moral question. He raises a good moral question as to whether he should be facing this extreme penalty. And that, these movies, subgenre movies, do, you think about Metallica's Ride the Lightning. They do ask the moral question. Is this morally a right thing to do? And I get it. There are crimes that can be committed that are just so atrocious. And if you're the victim or on the other side, you want nothing more than to see justice. But what is justice? I guess is the question, the rhetorical. Is it a rhetorical that some of these shows and films ask? Is it morally justified to put someone to death? And you think about, and I get it, the crimes and everything, and I get it. I probably wouldn't even have this sense of questioning or wondering if I were a victim on the other side. But just watching a film, a good one, that shows, that final walk, just to think that the state is your life is coming to an end, and there's no escape. You have to literally walk into death's arms. And I would imagine most of those walks are really hard. Really, and I don't know, man. That's just a bothersome thought. But Neech feels he's justified, man. And so this is an episode that plays between the supernatural and the earthly. You do have a conspiracy afoot. Are there guards involved? How else can you explain the people who are winding up dead? You get subtle hints along the way that this, in fact, may be Neech, come back from the dead. And then you are, there's a revealed thing. I mean, I guess it's just a TV show, get into it, but apparently one of the things that we hear Neech's wife, who the only time she's allowed to see him is in those moments leading up to the execution. She's allowed to come in and spend time in the cell with him, and she promised him straight up, man, I will never love another man. You probably should not promise things that you're not able to own up to, fulfill, carry out, because it's not long after that we find out she has fallen into the arms of another, which none other is Ken Foree, who's your Tom Atkins of this episode. So Ken Foree quickly moves in and picks up Neech's wife, and but not with added wrinkles to the story and just the added levels of intrigue and question marks as to who is really behind this. Is it Parmelli, which is Ken Foree's character? Is it him? Is it Neech's wife? Is it the warden? Is it some of the guards? Is it a mass conspiracy? Or has Neech come back from the grave to fulfill his promise of killing 5 people who have wronged him? I'll leave that there up in the air. It is pretty much settled at the end, in which it is, which is, I'll say, way more satisfying than that film Nightmare Beach. The ending isn't near as satisfying in terms of what I wanted out of that film. But this is a satisfying episode, man. This is good. Some of the cast, man, just the supporting cast is awesome. I'm just trying to think if there's, as far as the kills, you can't really get away with a whole lot in terms of TV. There's a few memorable deaths in here. Some of the after effect is very memorable. Some of the special effects, practical effects that went into showing us the aftermath. There's a decapitation that we see in its aftermath, which is a nice little effect there. But most of this episode really falls on the people that are playing different parts in this episode. And I can't stress enough. I just can't stress enough, man. This episode, The List, is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. And this I can't wait. Now, Too Shy is the next one. I don't even remember Too Shy. I could have been out in the field in the Army then. I just don't remember it. And I know a little bit ahead, there was a reason why I looked at an episode down the line. I know there's a show coming up. I can't remember which one it was, but the cast, in terms of guest appearances, oh my. I can't wait to get to that one. I don't think it's Too Shy, but it's not that far down the line, I don't think. So anyways, written and directed by Chris Carter, who is just phenomenal. And I should say the guy who plays Roke and the guy who plays Speranza, both of them freaking awesome, man. The girl who plays Danielle, Neech's wife, is great as well. Just an incredible supporting cast. Great story, great writing, great direction. Some great cinematography in terms of just the claustrophobic being in a prison. And again, another opportunity to see Scully at times feel vulnerable, and how she expresses it on her face is amazing. Amazing to say the least. So anyways, riding to that 15-minute mark, we'll just go ahead and end there. The List, man. What'd you think? Tell me what you thought. Drop it down below. And I do have something for July, mid-July. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a deep dive in another TV show. I got a special Father's Day gift. I won't go any more into that, although the shirt I'm wearing is a little bit of a clue. I'm trying to work out the details on that because I think I want to do a deep dive on that as well. But when we get closer and things become more real, I will stop mentioning it and drop an official sort of intro video or whatever, just like I've done with the X-Files, Space 1999. And don't forget I've done Space 1999. Dive down there and check that out and everything else. And don't forget I do body bags. And don't forget about our collaborative efforts on body bags now, top 5 roundtable discussions. And apparently me and Glenn on body bags and Will at the Graveyard Shift podcast, I think our next show is Poltergeist, the trilogy and the remake. That's supposed to be coming soon. And as always, I try to drop a lot of these things in the show notes down below. And so anyways, check that stuff out. Well, now we're about to cross into 16, so I'll end here. As always, go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.